And is anything and everything the Prophet, peace be upon him, did classed as Sunnah?
MashaAllah, I think just from the first question, this person is just taking us to the like a central located question of Islam in contemporary Islam, because prophet, the concept of prophethood in the religions, it's central located, because they are the ones who bring the message. Okay, so everything else will be depending on the prophet. So even we have Quran. So Quran reaching to us is through Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu. Same thing, Injil, Evangel, Injil reaching Christians, it is through Prophet Isa. Same thing about Torah, through Prophet Musa. Okay, so prophet is the most important, I would say, issue in each single religion. So if prophethood is established, if it is accepted, the message will be accepted. But if prophethood is rejected and denied, so everything which comes with the prophet, after prophet, that is rejected as well. Okay, so anyway, question, is each single thing that prophets do is sunnah, that to be followed or not? It's a big question. I'm not going to mention the disagreements and opinions, but only to the main point. So what prophets do split into 4 categories. Okay, 4 different things. One is, it is the natural things. So prophet being tall. Some of the prophets, for example, being very big, huge, wide shoulders. Okay, length of the, for example, hands. Some of them had very fleshy hands, palms. Some of them thin palms. Okay, in different way. So that is one thing, natural things. Okay, the second category is cultural things. Prophet eating something, some certain type of a food. So Prophet Muhammad used to eat dates, okay, as well as meat, okay, dried meat, qadid, okay, as well as Prophet Muhammad eating cucumber, Prophet Muhammad eating watermelon, okay, so as well as the cultural things related to the clothes, okay, so him wearing some certain type of clothes, okay. Obviously right now no one can show the exact fashion that Prophet Muhammad used to wear, because it's no one seen. Okay, it was 1,400 years ago. It was fashion of Arabian Peninsula then, but right now, if you go to Saudi, it's totally different clothing. Maybe Prophet Muhammad never saw these type of clothes that Arabians are wearing in Saudi right now, or Kuwaitis or Qataris. Okay.
Yeah, and it's funny because we always are told to stick with our culture, but then if you come wearing a completely different clothing, that's gonna stick out.
Exactly, yeah. So that the second thing is cultural things. Third thing is something which belongs to the prophets specifically. Okay, and most of the time it is rituals. Most of them, not all of them, obviously, but most of them. For example, prophet praying. Okay, the night prayers, and that being compulsory upon the Prophet Muhammad. Okay, so for us as like Muslims, it's not compulsory to wake up in the midnight to pray 8 rak'ah. It's not compulsory, but upon the Prophet it was compulsory. So we call that khususiyat of the prophets. Okay, and very last thing is religious matters. It is the issue by which prophets are sent. It is the actual message which God is telling us to do through the prophets. And prophet is the first person to act upon it. Okay? So these are 4 categories of things that prophets normally do. Okay? And we are only responsible to follow the very last one. So, for example, Prophet Muhammad, he had very bright skin color. So is it compulsory or is it sunnah for us to have, for example, bright skin color? So for example, I'm brown man. Okay, so then I will just bring this white paint and I will just paint myself into white, you can say, color. Is that sunnah to do? We say no. So, or for example, Prophet Muhammad, ﷺ, he was not hairy person. Okay, in the chest there is no, like, so he didn't have that. So is it sunnah for me not to have that also? No, it's just natural things. And another thing, cultural thing. Prophet ﷺ wearing some certain style of clothes, including the head clothes, head wears, turban, for example, hat, etc. Or as well as including some certain type of a food. Okay, so is that sunnah to do? No, that's not sunnah. Okay, as well as what about the khususiyat of the prophets? Okay, so that's not also sunnah to be followed. Sometimes it could be prohibited also. So there are 4 categories of things that prophets do. First 3, it's not sunnah, neither is compulsory, and sometimes it could be prohibited to follow them. Okay, but very last one, that where we Muslims follow. So is it compulsory to follow the message that prophets bring? I say generally yes, but if you go to the details, some of them compulsory, some of them recommended, and some of them are, you can say, according to the classification that prophets normally bring. Okay, so that is the general principle. Okay, so whenever you get some hadith, straight away you have to think one of them, which one of them 4 categories is going to be this hadith that they're bringing and mentioning. So definitely it's going to be one of them 4 categories.
So how do you know?
But by studying, okay, but I would say just for the general, you can say, principles, Rasulullah time to time would sneeze also, but it's not sunnah to sneeze. Anyway, how do you know? Just try to use your brain. So Prophet ﷺ doing something, so how do you know that thing that you're practicing right now is culture or it's natural? By using your brain, isn't it? Same thing, do it about the actions of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Okay, so some of them are going to be cultural, some of them natural, some of them khususiyat, and some of them are religious rituals. So that is the main thing.
Do you think, I mean, out of those 4 categories, do you think it's easy to mix up the religious rituals with things that are recommended?
It's not easy, but it became very widely spread. They do not distinguish, you know. Now it just mixed up.
But you don't think it's... Do you think the fact that it's difficult for us to distinguish...
No, it's not difficult. That's the point. It's not difficult.
It's not difficult.
No, it's never difficult, but only emotions of the people. Okay, for example, I have been practicing these clothes for whole of my life. Now, some kid comes, and I'm 90 years old scholar, and some kid comes at the age of 30, says, by the way, this is not sunnah. Now it's very difficult to accept it, you know. Why? Because in front of a people, I will look like stupid. I will look like ignorant. So difficult to admit that he's right. Yeah.
Okay. So you would, for people, you'd recommend them to study the deen more, and then it's easier to distinguish.
Yeah, but all the time keep your brain on. So even when you're studying the religion, so most of them think which is classed as a religion is opinion of the scholars. And the scholars are human being. They could be right or wrong. Okay? So regardless how great is that scholar, Abu Hanifa, Bukhari, all of them are human being, could be right or wrong. Okay? So that's why you just keep your brain on all the time. Regardless if it is to the scholar of the past generations or contemporary scholar, you all the time keep your brain on and weigh it by yourself and accept what you think is right.
What if there are disagreements amongst people between what's a religious ritual, a true religious ritual, and what's sunnah?
If you go to the principles, there is no disagreement in the principle in most of them. But in implementation, applying them principles, you have them disagreements. Okay, for example, now wearing turban is classed as a religious ritual when it is never. It was cultural thing. Prophet ﷺ used to live in Arabian Peninsula, and in that time, in Arabian Peninsula it's very hot. So without turban, you will get sunlight, you know. Okay, so and also turban, even the pagans, Qurayshi, mushriks used to wear. So if it is religious ritual, and according to the principle that they are spreading now, we have to oppose the mushriks. So means wearing turban should be prohibited according to their own principle, because mushriks of Quraysh, they used to wear turban. Okay, so from here we understand that all of that is just nothing but turban and clothing. All of that is just cultural thing. Yeah, so you have to just follow your own culture in which you live.
Okay, thank you.